Lead us in the pledge.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for your grace, we thank you for your mercy. Thank you for giving us a new day that we haven't seen. We thank you for this opportunity to be leaders and to do the will that you have upon us to do. We pray that the families that have been touched by the storms recently, that you would give them some insight to show that you are the God of all gods and that you will see them through this. We pray that the responders will also go there and come back safely. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Everyone, please face the flag and say the Pledge of Allegiance along with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, John.
Happy Ben Laden Day. Recognize Commissioner Baker.
Yes, I would like to add to the agenda, the NARCO Economic Development Conference is next week in Fort Worth, and I would like to attend the conference to see what we can bring back for us here.
We'd like to vote to allow Commissioner Baker to add an item on the agenda. All in favor? Let's vote, please. It has to be unanimous.
Believe me, I will do it.
Okay, Commissioner Baker, now you may bring up the business that you have.
The NARCO Economic Development Conference will be held next week in Fort Worth, Texas, and I would like to get a vote from the Commission Board to attend the conference next week.
I can get a second? Okay, moved by Commissioner Baker, seconded by Commissioner Thibodeau, that we be allowed to add to the agenda for the NARCO Economic Development Conference that will be held in Fort Worth, Texas.
The 11th through the 15th.
11th through the 15th. Comments? Mr. Lynn?
Though I've seen where Caddo Parish has written a check to National Association of Black County Officials for my membership, I don't receive anything in the mail. And I'm wondering how there can be a national meeting in Fort Worth and me not have received anything in the mail in that regard. And I've never received anything in the mail from the National Association of Black County Officials, even though I've seen the check written with my membership to it. And I'm wondering if anybody can explain the reason for that.
Yeah.
Well, you said NARCO, didn't you?
But he's a member.
Well, I've seen where the check was written for my membership. However, I haven't received any notification of any of the meetings.
You didn't get any information about the conference?
No, I didn't.
Just because you're given a seat at the table don't mean you can You finished, Mr. Mann?
Yes, I'm finished. Thank you.
Ms. Bowman?
Did you send him a picture? That's why you didn't get it.
You can mail all comments to Ms. Bowman, P.O. Box. Okay, that's it, Ms. Bowman?
Oh, well, yeah.
And I think you maybe want to be included in going, if it's your desire.
I choose not to go to this particular meeting. However, I would like to be notified of what they do. I've attended the meetings in the past and have actually gotten more information relevant to my community at the NAPCO meetings than I have at the traditional NACO meetings. And I enjoy knowing what they have, and I feel that I get useful information from those meetings to use to serve my constituents in a better fashion. And I don't understand why I'm not receiving the information in the mail that the other commissioners that are members receive.
Mr. President, Commissioner Lynn, when I attend the conference, I will make sure that they know that they're not sending you any correspondence and find out what's happening and make sure that you get back on the mailing list.
Thank you very much.
Point of information, please. Mr. Escudé?
I think last time we enlarged the agenda, we kind of got caught sleeping. I think the proper procedure now that she's been allowed to bring this up would be under new business. Last item, we should make the motion.
All right.
All right.
Okay, this will be the motion. what we just did was mute, so we'll put this up under new business.
Okay.
Last item.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see, next item, please.
This last motion was added to the agenda, and then we'll address it under new business. So we still need to vote on this last motion.
There's
no real motion that's...
We voted, the motion is to allow it up.
We'll bring it up under new business.
We voted 100% to put it on there.
Agenda addition, and now to vote to put it on, to move it to the agenda itself, my understanding.
Let's vote to do that, because that's why I had the Personnel Policies Committee meet, so we could get some definitive rules and regulations in place, so we have something to go by. Okay, all in favor of adding this on the new business, vote. Got it up there? Okay, all right. Okay, at this time, if there's any citizen in the audience that would like to address the commission on any item other than an item that they are maybe scheduled to speak on the written agenda, please fill out a card in the foyer, get it up to myself, and you'll be allowed an opportunity to address this body about any concern that you have other than an item that's on the agenda for public hearing. Okay, let's see, I have one card. I have Mr. Lee A. Jeter Sr. Would you come forward, sir, state your name and address for the record, and you may proceed.
Good afternoon. Lee Alpha Jeter Sr., 1512 Clay Street, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71101, Executive Director, Phillips Center for Housing of Northwest Louisiana. And thank you very much, President Epperson and the Commission, for allowing me to address you one additional time. I do appreciate it. I actually come before you this afternoon. We have an item on your agenda on the new business to amend your budget for the new year for some funds for the Fuller Center for Housing. And again, I'm coming to the Commission to ask the Commission if you would really seriously consider that request. Somehow the request did not get put in at your budget hearing earlier in the year. And the Fuller Center for Housing asked for some funding last year to help us complete a transaction to do some economic development in the Allendale area, to wit, a grocery store in the Allendale area at 300 North Allen Avenue. And the funding that we had requested was going to help us complete that project to bring that grocery store to that area as a part of the economic development issue for that particular district, to go along with those 43 homes that we built in Allendale. The closest grocery store in the Allendale community is approximately 8 miles from the community. And we're almost at that point, at that tipping point, where we can get this building open to bring a community grocery store into the Allendale area to serve the residents of the Allendale area, that 1,599 residents. And we would like the Commission to be a part of what we're doing in economic development in the Allendale area. And we would ask that if it is within your preview to consider adding us into your budget for some funds to help us continue to do revitalization and economic development in the Allendale area. And I don't want to take up too much of your time, and I thank you very much, but I do ask that you would strongly consider to support the Fuller Center in this endeavor. Thank you very much. If there are any questions.
Okay, Mr. Thibodeau, anyone else?
From what I remember, we got your request in time last year, but as I recall, it was turned down because that money was going to be used for construction, and that's not what we normally, out of our NGOs have not been given money for construction purposes.
And we talked with the city attorney and Ms. Brown about that issue, and we determined that that money could be allocated for the actual, instead of the construction, that we could use it for other things as far as occupancy and salary and creating those jobs for those individuals that's going to run the grocery store. The grocery store is going to be directed by the Fuller Center, but it's going to be run as a non-profit grocery store to keep prices within the area so that the citizens could afford them. And it was my understanding that we'd worked all of those things out with the city attorney on how we could legally do that, but it did not get brought back up, and that information did not get relayed to the commissioner, who did explain to me that he would be absent from today's meeting.
But the NGO does not allow to pay for salaries either.
Okay.
In the past, we haven't.
Okay.
Let's see what Mr. I've got them working on it right now. Okay. There you go. Get a reply for you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I think, Mr. Fuller, we may have a little bit, I'm sorry, Fullerton, I apologize, have a misunderstanding, but what it is that the basic mission of the organization is something that the Commission could support, so that the money that we give should go to that basic mission as far as funding that construction, and then that would free up other funds that would go into the grocery store.
Say that again.
The basic mission as far as the providing of the housing, the actual housing, is something that the Commission can legally fund, so that materials and supplies for those buildings can be bought from the Commission funds, because you all are allowed, under state law, to fund low-income housing, or provide supplements for that particular mission, say the way we do with Section 8 or something like that. So your monies could be exercised for that, which would in turn free up money for the Fuller Center to take and use towards something else, such as the groceries. But that would not be the subject of the cooperative endeavor agreement.
So what would be the subject of the cooperative endeavor?
To provide the low-income housing itself in the neighborhood.
But it was my understanding that the policy, or at least the practice of the NGOs, was not to give money for construction or to pay salaries.
For buildings, for particular buildings. Like, see, this particular building is being built as a grocery store with the Commission funds. If several years down the road it's closed or used for something else, you're looking at a situation where the constitutionality has possibly been violated. But if it's going directly to provide the housing from the outset, then that's not a problem.
It just sounds like some legal maneuvering to me, because the bottom line is if we give them funds, those funds in some way, shape, or form are going to be used for construction and or salaries, which with our NGOs, we've said that we weren't going to do that we wanted that money to go to direct services to people.
Well, I'm not aware of anything as far as salaries are concerned, but for the actual service that they do provide is the housing is going to direct services for people.
Commissioner Thibodeau, I think what I'm hearing and what we discussed is the Fuller Center is a nonprofit that builds homes for individuals and poverty. And what I'm hearing is that the money can be allocated toward what we're doing. Our primary mission is to direct service and provide housing for individuals in poverty. And what that does is that frees up some of our additional funds, our own funds, that allow us to put those funds in the grocery store and allow the funds that the Commission would give us to help us with the construction of new homes, and frees up some of our existing funds.
But once you're saying that the state would allow us to do that as far as funding the homes, the state would allow us to do that, but I'm talking about our practice, our policy that we've had at least, the few years I've been here, that's not what we use NGO funds for.
Commissioner Thibodeau, I think in the past, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, we've had persons approaching us about refurbishing like a specific building for, that was not going to be used for necessarily a community activity or for a program that they were supporting, but to house the organization that they were in. And that's why the grocery store kind of falls in line on some of this. I believe in the original application for the grocery store, some of the Fuller Center's offices were going to be maintained there and things of that nature. And so that's why that fell in line with this. But for the housing itself, no, we've never been asked to do anything like that. But I don't see where there should be a problem.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Cox?
That was the question I was going to ask. I was going to check on the legality of salaries.
Mr. Johnson?
What about the inventory for the grocery stores? Can that be covered or not?
I would prefer to do more research on that, but my instinct is to say probably not.
That's it, Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Bowman?
Mr. Jeter, what is the city of Shreveport doing as far as this is concerned? Because if I recall correctly, I remember this coming up with them, and can you explain to me what they're doing?
The city of Shreveport originally committed $50,000 to the project for the reconstruction of the building on a reimbursable basis, that they're actually committed toward helping us reconstruct that building to get that building in shape. The building had been abandoned for about 10 years.
Is this coming from community development or through community?
No, ma'am, it is not coming from the community development funds, as I understand, and I can double check, Commissioner Bowman, but the city did commit $50,000 to help us with their project on the economic development, and they're actually looking for an additional $25,000 to support this project.
Did they, perchance, donate the building, or was that building a part of adjudicated?
We purchased the building outright with Fuller Center funds. So
How much was the building?
We own the building. We actually paid for the building $50,000.
How much?
$50,000. We acquired the building in 5 shotgun houses on that property because we had to make room to have additional parking. In addition to the 5 shotgun houses, we maintained 3 of those houses in the original state that were converted to a museum. But in order to have a full-service grocery store, we needed to have 25 parking spaces, which required us to purchase additional shotgun houses and demolish them to have enough room to have a full-service grocery store that doesn't sell alcohol and tobacco products.
So how long was that building empty? 'Cause
It was vacant for about 10 years.
And wasn't anybody really...
No, ma'am, it was just sitting there vacant, just living in the building.
Charged you $50,000 for that?
Actually, they wanted $75,000 plus, and we got them down to $50,000. We felt like that building, as long as it maintained in the area, was going to be an eyesore. And we know that we're currently working our office out of a house that was actually built for our family because we want to maintain our presence in the Allendale area. And so part of buying the building was so that, because at one time it used to be an old Italian home, actually home in the grocery store beneath it, is that we could relocate our offices to the upstairs area and then open the bottom stairs of the building as a full-service grocery store. And so our office is going to be on the 2nd floor, the grocery store is going to be on the bottom floor of the building.
That's it, Ms. Bowman?
Yes, sir.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you, Mr. Jeter.
Thank you, sir.
Let's see, I do not have another card, so next item, please, Mr. Clerk.
You had a water card there, sir?
He changed his mind, Mr. Montoya. He changed his mind, he spoke with his commissioner.
Okay, next we move to visitors. We have Mr. Sandy Davis, Director of the Caddo Office, Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness.
Good afternoon. I appreciate the opportunity to bring you an update on our shelter operations for this 2011 hurricane season. Before we started there, I just wanted to be sure that you were aware, as part of the funding stream for my office, we have 2 deployments now of equipment that we have purchased. Our USAR team, our Louisiana Task Force 3 team, as you may know, have been deployed from Shreveport to Bossier City to meet up with Baton Rouge Task Force 2, and potentially some folks out of Task Force 1 out of New Orleans to go to Tuscaloosa, Alabama on a 7-day deployment. We have pass-through funds that come through our office that help support equipment, training, and expenses for that. And then we have our Region 7 Regional Communications Tower. DeSoto Parish had a tower blown down by the tornado that came through at the end of last week. They had no communications for their fire districts in the northern part of the parish. Within 4 hours, we were able to take our regional communications equipment down and get their communications back up and running for their fire districts there in the northern part of DeSoto Parish. So I wanted to be sure that you were aware of that. And again, thank you for continuing to fund our office's operation. The strategy behind sheltering, the overall strategy is dealing with emergencies is to minimize the loss of life and maintain safety for the Louisiana citizens. A large part of the population will act on their own behalf. They'll take care of voluntary evacuations. They'll evacuate themselves. They'll take care of going to family. They'll take care of going to friends, or they'll go to hotels and motels. The goal for Louisiana by the year 2014 set by the governor was for us to be shelter independent. What that means is that we would have every citizen that needed to be evacuated in the state of Louisiana housed within the border of the state of Louisiana. A very lofty goal. I don't believe that we'll make that, but we're certainly working toward that. We have 3 types of shelters in Caddo Parish. We have general population shelters. These are where the citizens self-evacuate. they have their own transportation, they just lack the funds to be able to support themselves in a hotel setting, or they don't have the family or friend infrastructure that the majority of the population has. Those two shelters are located at LSUS, which has a bed population of 800, and Southern University, which has a bed population of 700. Those are supported by the American Red Cross. The second type of shelter that we have in Caddo Parish are critical transportation needs. This is a much smaller portion of the population. These are individuals that don't have their own transportation or don't have transportation that is sufficient enough and good enough shape to be able to transport themselves out of harm's way into the sheltering parishes. These critical transportation need evacuees are encouraged to pre-register within their parish. Their database is collected through the Department of Family Services in Baton Rouge, and they are taken to a parish pickup point using parish resources, either school buses or public transportation, and transported by federal transportation out of the area. These shelters are at 8810 Jewel, the old Sam's Club you're very familiar with. This is a state-run CTN. The State Department of Family and Children Services, or Children and Family Services, supports that, and then OK's Cascade is a subcontractor to run that shelter. That has a capacity of 2,000 beds, and it's currently in the first option of the 2-year option. It gets us through November 30th of 2011. There is one option a year remaining on that contract. It could be renewed through November 2012. The second shelter we bought online last year is what we call the West Park Shelter. It's across from Watertown, there off 70th Street. It's the old Bingham Pump Building. It's at 7455 Atkinson Drive. It is a state-run critical transportation needs shelter, again supported by the Department of Children and Family Services, and then subcontracted out to OK's Cascade. There's a 1,500 bed capacity there. They're currently in their first lease period. It's good through 19 November of 2014. They do have 2 1-year options after that, which could possibly get us through November 2016. And the Riverview Theater is a CTNS shelter run by the City of Shreveport, has a 500-bed capacity. There is no lease on this building. It is on an as-needed basis, and reimbursement is through a day rate in the event that we need to use it. Another type of shelter that we have in Caddo Parish is a pet shelter. We have the livestock barn for Louisiana State Fairgrounds. It's located in close proximity to our human shelter there. Pet owners are responsible for the care of their own pets at that shelter. There are 3 different types of shelters that are co-located over in Bossier Parish that may, in fact, have an impact on the infrastructure of Shreveport when we bring additional population in. There's a medical special needs shelter that is the Bossier Civic Center and has a 200-bed capacity. This is for the Department of Health and Hospitals and the Department of Social Services. They changed their name. Department of Children and Family Services. Also supports the operation of that. The Century Till Center is what we call a point-to-point. We came up with a point-to-point sheltering system last year, and what this is a relationship established between 2 parish entities that are under an memorandum of understanding that they will send folks from Assumption Parish to Bossier Parish. That is a 1,600-bed facility. And there's a sex offender shelter. All sex offenders in Louisiana under Louisiana Act 285 of the 2006 regular session are required to register and not be housed in general population or CTNS shelters. That is at Davis Way Correction Center in Homer, Louisiana. And the final kind of shelter that I wanted to bring your attention to this afternoon before I open the floor up for questions might be in Caddo Parish. We may in fact wind up with a shelter at the Hearst Coliseum. We have out-of-state sheltering partners in Texas, Arkansas, New Mexico, Tennessee, Missouri, and Oklahoma. 2 years ago, after we had Hurricane Gustav and Ike, we realized the expense and the difficulty in transporting citizens outside of the state. I went to Baton Rouge and I met with the Oklahoma emergency managers there, and I was tasked to help put together a pilot program which we hope will be successful and we hope could be taken nationwide, where instead of us taking our citizens out of Louisiana to Oklahoma, we'll bring the resources of Oklahoma here. The plan is to use the Hearst Coliseum. However, the Hearst Coliseum is currently under contract with the movie industry, so we may in fact have to find another bricks and mortar somewhere to house those folks. We figured 1,600 people there, and it would be funded by the state of Oklahoma and reimbursed through the EMAC, the Emergency Management Alliance Compact, Assistance Compact, through the federal government. So with that said, those are the types of shelters that we have here in Calhoun and Bossier parishes, the potential for our sheltering partnership with the state of Oklahoma, and I'll now open up the floor for questions that you may have.
We have Ms. Baker.
I just want to know if you can give us a list, or like a chart of all those shelters you were talking
Absolutely.
about, with phone numbers or whatever,
Absolutely.
information like you were saying.
Absolutely, I can get that to you. I've got just a copy here, I've been hand scratching on, but I'll be sure, I'll forward that to Mr. Jefferson.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. Cox.
Okay, Sandy, I want to thank you for coming here today and give us an update. Last time I was in Baton Rouge, they were really still trying to figure out what they were going to do in the 2012 plan. When I first heard it, I knew that would be a long shot. The current weather experts, if you want to call them that, say that this is going to be a low number hurricane year, but strong hurricanes.
It only takes one.
That's right. And all up, we'll have that one hit, and then we'll be where we were two years ago, or 4 years ago. Question, I want to go down here. Sam's. Is the problems that we had at Sam's been addressed as far as showers?
Yes, in fact,
Yeah, go ahead.
one question at a time, I'll get very confused. And notice I said I'd let you ask questions, I didn't say I'd give you answers. So, the Sam's facility, the problem we had there was the contract the trigger wasn't pulled for the contract on the shower. I went to Robert Shavers, who owns Shavers Catering over in Erie. He wanted to get into not only catering for disasters, but any other kind of aspect. So we actually have 4 shower units in place, hooked up, ready to go. All we gotta do is turn the lights on. All the cots are in place, the pillows, the mattresses, the blankets, the MREs, the water. All it takes is just unlocking the door and turning the switch on at both of these CTM facilities that are state supported. Robert put 4, he actually used those Seagull and Cargo containers to build the showers in over there at Sam's, and then at the West Park facility he used 50-foot tractor trailers. They are in place, they're hooked up to the sanitary sewer system, and they have passed the plumbing codes and all those issues that we might have there. So yes, sir, those shelters are in place. The only thing that would have to be moved in would be additional portable toilets, and we have contracts set in place and ready to go to pull those additional toilets in.
Okay.
And hand wash stations.
Let's talk about security, because Sam's is in my area.
Yes, sir.
And we did have a security problem Lord help these people when they are put out of their homes. But when they're put into a place and they say, okay, you can't go anywhere, you got to stay here. People get restless, they want to walk. What is the state going to do as far as helping the city or the parish out with security?
Okay, the state, number one, they've appointed Wayne Tuttle, Lieutenant of Louisiana State Troop G, has been reassigned. He is the SWAT team commander for the state of Louisiana. He's also been reassigned another portion of his responsibilities are shelter operations. He already has the state troopers. The state police are the lead law enforcement agency for evacuations. And of course, they work in conjunction closely with the local law enforcement and parish law enforcement. So what we would do is pull the trigger on the Louisiana National Guard and private contracts for security in addition to what we have here. But what we typically run into, Commissioner, is that the City of Shreveport Police Department wants to take care of that shelter, independent of bringing in outside help. So we allow them to do that to the point to where they no longer have the resources to do it, and then we pull in those National Guard and those private security companies.
Okay. In 2000, that's the max? That's
correct. They have actually applied to up that to 2,400, but the State Fire Marshal's office came in and said, no, 2,000 would be the max we can put in there.
Okay. And let's see.
That's leaving room also for feeding inside, but we don't have to set up tents outside, and a little recreational area for the kids, activity area for the kids. We could actually put about 3,000 beds in there, but you'd have to feed outside, and you have to move the kids outside for that, so we choose not to do that.
Okay. And the reason why I'm so inclusive about this year is because we're trying to work with the state fair. I understand that they are under contract with some movies, if at all possible.
Right.
The ag building has come up under discussion.
Right.
All it needs is a heat and air conditioning system.
Yes, sir.
Is there any funds in the state that we can go tap into to get that building up to code as far as air and heat? Because that's 36,000 square foot.
Yes, sir.
If you had to use the Hirsch under extreme emergency, You can have them in the hearse to bed down, have the ag building as a recreation or a place they can go sit, watch TV, something like that. What is it that the state can do for us to see that come to fruition?
Well, I'll have two answers to your one question. Question number one is there is no money in the state to support HVAC system for that facility that I'm aware of. There is no money in the state. That'd be a good place to stop that conversation. But what we've done with Oklahoma, we realize the deficit in the HVAC system there. So what we've done with Oklahoma, they come in, they've done an assessment of it. They will bring in trailer mounted air conditioning units. We did that for we've done that for the old outlet mall. We had to do that to support the HVAC there during Gustav and Ike. So we're aware of that deficit there, and we're aware of that increased bed space potential there. What they plan to do there was to put the vulnerable population in there, which would be mothers with small children, the elderly, move them out of that general population at the hearse. So they're very aware of that. But trust me, I will continue to be an advocate for this area for any money that does become available if at any point we get to that.
Well, when you say that, and you go back to the original statement of the 2012 plan, if there's no money now, then that 2012 plan is basically not worth the paper it's written on by the good governor of this state.
Well, it all depends on, I suppose, we could argue that point. What we've done, I didn't bring up, the city of New Orleans traditionally has not housed evacuees because of Katrina and Rita's experience. However, the new mayor that they have down there has worked closely with us on the shelter task force. There are some facilities down there that are being looked at that are above the floodplain, got no water in them during Katrina, and they have a wind rating for up to a 200-mile-an-hour wind. They're looking at the city of New Orleans taking some of those and housing people there. We also have 6,000 additional bed spaces that have been committed from East Baton Rouge Parish, so it's not necessarily hardening facilities in northern Louisiana. It's the parishes that would typically be evacuating parishes who will start to house some of their own folks where we don't have to evacuate them out. For instance, in Grand Isle, we're rebuilding a school down there. When I was down there working the BP spill, I went down and looked at the school. It's built up to a 250-mile-an-hour wind rating, so in theory, they can put everybody in Grand Isle in that school without having to evacuate them. So there's a lot of different things. So to say that there's absolutely no money, I guess was not a true statement, but the money that is allocated now for the refurbing of those buildings in those storm areas that would typically evacuate is where that money is being concentrated on.
So in the bottom, the worst hurricane, this is probably my last little bit here, the worst hurricane comes up, and we have to evacuate South Louisiana, from New Orleans all the way to the Texas line.
1.4 million people.
Right, and they're coming up, and you're looking for a place to go, whether it's a movie in it or not, whether there's a concert in the Centratel or not, whether it's the place down in Alexandria that's just sitting there. I think, didn't y'all look at that building as well?
Cowboy Town, yes, that's been looked at.
Okay, are y'all doing anything with that?
No, sir.
It just didn't fit the need, or?
No, sir, it's not set up. Have you ever been in that facility?
No, sir.
It's really not. Now, when people say shelter, they think it's got a roof over 4 walls, it's suitable for a shelter. We're running the same thing with Cowboy Town we ran into with the old sports outlet. There were so many places that were impossible to secure, so many little nooks and crannies. You wind up with illegal activities going on there, and you wind up with big security issues when you do that. So we have to look at a facility and determine, is it a usable facility, or is it just bricks and mortar that's sitting there? There's a lot of empty bricks and mortar that could be used, but they're not conducive to a secure, safe shelter site.
Okay, so getting back to my question, in the event of just a bad situation come up, y'all come up to the furthest part of Louisiana, which is Bossier, Caddo, Monroe, stuff like that, and we need these buildings at the last possible minute. Are we going to be able to put air in the ag building on the minutes notice?
Yes, sir. There are 40-foot trailer mounted air conditioning units that we used before. We didn't use those at the outlet mall. Those were Louisiana National Guard units, but there's tractor trailer mounted units that we would have access to.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, I appreciate your help, and I'll probably be working with you through the summer, getting ready for this. And
one other thing, Chris has been a great partner to us out there, and Sam before that was a great partner to us. So I say anything that we can do to try to improve that situation out there, to where It brings value not only during the evacuations, but also to our community. The other thing, I brought with me the Louisiana Unified Shelter Plan. It's hard to believe it's 2011. We've never had a unified shelter plan for the state of Louisiana. We've had the South Louisiana Plan, we've had the Central Louisiana Plan, we've had the North Louisiana Plan, and we've had no plan. So over the last year, I've been serving on a committee. We put together this as in its final draft. It hasn't been accepted by the governor. The reason I wouldn't not only leave a copy of it with you today, but as soon as it is, which I anticipate by the end of this month, they're supposed to roll it out at the Louisiana Emergency Preparedness Association meeting the 1st of June. This is a comprehensive plan. It goes over 5 different categories of shelters to include parishes taking care of their own folks, all the way up to us having to send people out of town. So it's pretty comprehensive. It gives a guideline of how many toilets for how many people, and how many showers for how many people, and what kind of feeding would be expected. And it's a very comprehensive plan. So at that time, I'll be glad to share that with the commission as well.
And to let Mr. President know and the other commissioners, I'll be bringing back something that we can look at the ag building. I'll probably do something with that in the event that we can help them out, help the state work with us, parish will work with us, and try to get a coalition together to get that possibly done. Me and Ms. Bowman has already talked to Chris out there, and like you said, he's there when you need him.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, he's not going to turn them away. So
He called me and he'll say, I got a chance to lease this building out for 6 months, but I'm going to be paid for the year because I promised you, Mr. Chris, if you make $1, you need to be making $1.
Yeah.
You know, so, yes, sir, he is a good corporate partner, no
I
doubt.
appreciate you coming up.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty much.
Anyone else? Okay, Sandy, we thank you for coming. All was quiet relative to the event that transpired within the last 24 hours. No problems there, nothing you heard?
No, sir, you know, the Times called this morning, there are at this point in time no current credible threats. Of course, there's always concern, but there's no credible threats for our region. You know, quicker than any of that kind of thing happens, I'll be sure that through Mr. Wilson that the commission knows.
Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Okay, next on?
Next, we have reports, we have the administrative report.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes, sir. President, we have received an email from Ms. Mary Ann Tice to come before you all today to give you an update as part of your quarterly requirements for funding. And in her stead, we have Mr. Jerry Nelson today will be coming forth to give you an update on the Sports Authority. Mr. Nelson, would you come forward, please?
Nelson, state your name and address of the organization that you're representing, and you may proceed.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jerry Nelson. I'm at 19 Piedmont Road here in Shreveport. That's my office. That's my office address. I'd like to thank you guys for allowing the Sports Authority to present the numbers for first quarter of 2011 as far as the expenditures and economic development numbers as they relate to the events that that you guys helped fund for us this year. We really appreciate that, and we hope that you guys are happy with what we've done so far. I do have a copy, I guess, that I would... That has the 3 different events that we've done for the, well, actually it's just 2 events so far for the first quarter of 2011. One is the LHSAA State Wrestling Championships, and of the $50,000 that you guys have afforded us so far, about $43,000 of that went towards that event. And if you look on the economic impact study, you'll see where that event itself brought in $1.5 million of economic impact. Then after that, we have the NCAA Women's Basketball Tournament that was here. Of the money that we received, approximately $9,000 went towards that, and that economic impact was about $300,000 as far as economic impact numbers. And the good thing about that, is that, and I'm sure you all noticed that the team that came from this location actually went on and won the championship, Texas A&M University. And so we all have something to be real proud about there. That Sunday of the game, that first game, we had two games, one on Sunday and one on Tuesday. The Sunday game was, the NCAA had 16 games going on throughout the country in different cities. And that Sunday game, our attendance was ranked number 6 out of all those 16 sites. So we're real happy with that. And the only other thing on there that you'll see is a small amount for the FLW that would be here in May. It's just $160 that we did for an ad, and the ad was in one of the fishing industry magazines on tour. And it was an ad for the sports authority in this area. Also, for that event, I also have a poster that I'm going to leave with you as well for that event. And so basically, we've got those events, and also in May, and you're going to see that $160 again on the report for in second quarter, along with some other numbers after that event. And in addition to that, in second quarter, what we're going to have is the LHSAA Class 1 and Class 2 baseball championships. So those are the events that we have coming up, and I've just spoke with you about the events that we've just finished with. And again, there was about $50,000, and total economic impact was about $5 million, a little over $5 million. So that's my report. And thank you for your consideration, and thank you for what you've done for us so far. And I would also like to say that you guys were the only entity, governmental entity, that helped us with these two events. And so we're really proud to have you guys on board, and I hope you guys are as proud to be on board as we are having you.
Okay. One moment, we'll see if we have questions to have Ms. Bowman and Mr. Lynn.
Thank you, Charles. Jerry, just have one question for you. Where's Miss Tice? I know I've been here, and she's been scheduled at least 3 or 4 times, and each time she sends somebody else. She won't come herself. What's the problem?
Well, that's because our board has decided that
Yeah, your board decided that
we would
put y'all out front instead of her.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's amazing to me, if she wants the money, she ought to come up here and say something. Of course, I ain't voting for it anyway, but I'm just...
Well, I mean, we're not trying to do anything underhanded. We're not trying to do anything...
I'm not saying that you are. Believe me, I'm not saying that you are.
And I do believe that these events are good for the area. I do believe these events are good for the area.
No doubt that they are. No doubt.
And that's the thing. We're just trying to take out the resistance.
I'm through.
Mr. Lynn?
Yes. Caddo Parish Commission has assigned 2 members to your executive board. Have you had the orientation for those 2 members?
Yes, they have.
And have they attended your meetings, and have they voted on issues?
We will have a meeting coming in March. I mean, in May, I'm sorry, this month.
And so, as of their assignment to your board, that there has not been any meetings?
No, they've had their orientation, individual orientations, but we have not had a board meeting at all.
How often do y'all traditionally have a board meeting?
Maybe quarterly,
So you have 4 board meetings a year?
and more if necessary. And granted, I've only been on the board since November, and I think I've been to 2 meetings.
Since November?
Yes.
When were those meetings?
I'm sorry?
When were those meetings?
One was in, I guess, in November,
Okay.
and the other was probably in February, maybe?
February?
March, maybe?
February or March, so late February, early March?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all, Mr. President.
Okay. All right, let's see, Mr. Escabay?
Thank you. Thank you for being here today. You are aware that the city, two cities and the two parishes are entering into an agreement to do their own sports marketing. And are you aware that these entities have requested information from the Sports Authority?
What type of information? Like this?
No, specific information, contracts, future contracts signed for future events, those kinds of things.
Well, from what I understand, one of the new board appointees, Larry Anderson, has gone over and viewed some of the contracts.
That didn't answer my question. Are you aware that the four governing authorities of these two parishes have formally requested that in writing more than once? That information be provided to us, not a board appointee.
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure as to what information I'm looking for.
Okay, then you don't really know what I'm talking about then.
Well, I have an idea, but I'm not sure specifically what you're asking.
Specific information about upcoming contracts for the remainder of this year and into 2012, specifically including the Bassmasters, as far as what has been obligated on behalf of this community. And we have not yet received that information. I understand it's probably some of the opinion of some of the board members that you serve with, and maybe your own attorney, that that's not public information. But I believe different. This body supporting you with public dollars, it's public information. I want to know how long, if you can answer that, this request is going to go ignored.
I'm not sure, but
And in light of that, do you really reasonably expect us to continue to fund you in any way since that request has been ignored?
Well, I wouldn't say it's been ignored. I think it's been considered, and I think that, like you said, when we do these type things, you get attorneys involved.
3 of these meetings with the joint governmental bodies and has never come. Always had an excuse to come. We can't have any resolution, we can't have any cooperative agreement, we can't have any working together to make sure that these events that are contracted for, assumably contracted for, can go off without a hitch and represent this community in a good way without any open dialogue. Do you understand my concern?
Well, yeah, but and again, I go back to the events that just happened in first quarter. Those events went off, and the people that came here for those events were very satisfied with what they got. They were very satisfied with.
I don't doubt that. That's not the issue here at all. The issue here at all is the director or the board ignoring the request of the 4 governmental entities of these 2 parishes, which is something which is clearly a request for information that is certainly, at least for the parish's part, public information, because you are being given public funds first quarter of this year.
Well, I tell you what, we will have an answer to that for you next month.
I would hope so, because it seems to be, the Bassmasters is the big thing coming up.
Yes.
I don't reasonably know, how do you expect to fund this? How does your board expect to fund the Bassmaster?
Well, we're hoping that we develop such a good will with you guys that you guys will stay with
Not
us.
showing up to this meeting or addressing us and in person, or to the new, the 4 governmental bodies at the invitation of the mayors and the parish presidents is not a way to forge a good relationship. I wish you would pass that on, because I can tell you just from attending those meetings, every one of them, there's no way you're going to get a dime out of anybody unless some dialogue starts. And I'm not fussing at you, you're just the messenger. And you got set up. You got sent here today, set up. And I don't even want to belittle it. I'm just saying, if without no dialogue, there will be no money. And it would be a shame for the Bassmasters not to go down or to happen as it's supposed to. It would be a black eye for all of us. But to think that we're going to pull the lion's share of it, and these governmental bodies will, and are expected to, without any consideration, without information being asked for, without the courtesy of showing up in the flesh, I think that's asking a bit much. Would you not agree?
Well, Raj, I am here. I'm listening to your questions, and I'm taking your questions back to our board.
Very good.
And we'll respond to you. I'm in the advertising business, and I'm all about, whenever I've got a client that's dissatisfied, I'm all about making good on my promises to that client. And I will assure you that we plan to do what we need to do in order to build a relationship with the Caddo Parish Commission.
Hope sooner than later, and I appreciate you carrying that.
And-
The meter, the clock's running. This, next year we'll be here before we know it.
Let me just ask this, is that the sticking point, the contracts, the contracts?
We want to know what all we've been obligated for. I think I can speak for both parishes and the cities at this point, especially specifically regarding the Bassmasters. What are we on the hook for, facilities-wise, money-wise, and everything else? We or sent messages. Also, we want to know what has been contracted. We want to see it. Wouldn't you? If it's your money, we want to see it. That's all we want to do. But we get nothing but ignored at this point, and that's not your fault.
Okay, and so I'm asking, how would you recommend we do this?
Well, I would recommend the next time, Ms. Tyson, any board members that want to show up of a meeting of the 4 governmental bodies when they've been meeting a couple times a month for the last 3 or 4 months to get this resolved. I would recommend somebody show up, preferably Ms. Tice.
Will you guys send us notice of that?
Absolutely. You have my word.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Johnson? Yeah, a couple questions. Yeah, a couple questions. Based on the economic impact report for the state wrestling event, you got one figure that's $1.5 million.
Right.
What was that? Basically, that's the event itself, the teams, the spectators, or what?
Economic impact?
Yes.
Well, there's a formula that the Sports Commission, the body of the Sport Commission has a formula and a template that they use to create these numbers. And somehow or another, that's where that number comes from. That template and what all goes into it as far as hotel stays, people that come into the community, people eating out, and those type things.
Okay, I see that one. Then come back a little further down, you got 3.6 million for the same event. So how do you get the total?
Well, so it's calculated on 2-day.
Yeah, for 2-day tournament, you got $3.6 million economic impact.
I guess at $4,000. I'm not quite sure what how the numbers were arrived at, but like I said, there's a template that how these numbers are created.
All right, thank you.
And again, it's not an exact science. I mean, but it's the best we have to go on. I mean, it's just like, again, I'm in the advertising business, and we have the Nielsen rating system that we use for TV ratings. And, a lot of people question those numbers, and those numbers, it's not an exact science, and they could be off. We don't know, but it's the best we have to go on right now.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
That's it, Mr. Johnson? Yes, sir.
Mr. Cox, 2 things, and to piggyback on Mr. Linden, when you promote an event, you take in consideration how many people attended your event. That way, how many people spend money on restaurants, hotels, stuff like that. That's where the economic impact comes from. And in doing so, that should be a part of your package. I'm like John. You were sent here today, and I, on one hand, feel sorry for you, simply because you were sent here to do something that somebody else should have been doing, okay? I'm on your side. Between me and Mr. Pearson, we have stood behind your organization, okay? But I want to make a request today that on May 16th, 2011, at our next work session, I would like Mary Ann Tice to be here to answer and to give us a 2011, and from now till the end of the year, what you have planned. It's not that hard. I'm a promoter too. I know when my next event's going to be. I know how much money I'm going to spend. You should have that in your quarterly and your yearly outlook. May 16th, 2011, I would like the whole board, if possible, to come here and address this commission and our concerns. Because like Mr. Escudé said, I can back you and Mary Ann, which I have. But if it comes down to cooperation between the new entity that has been formed it's been formed, it ain't going nowhere. So we either need to figure out how you're gonna work with them, or we're gonna see your entity go under. Now, you've got 2012 Bassmaster. I would also like a breakdown of that. How much you spent last time compared to what you're looking at this time, okay? Now, that gives you 2 weeks. I think in 2 weeks, that should give your group ample enough time to meet with us on the 16th, wouldn't you say? And that's fair to you?
Absolutely.
Okay, I don't want to wait a month, because like Mr. Escudate said, a month comes, another month, and we're done. So let's get this done right, come back, address it, get all the, when you come, have a package for each commissioner. That way we know what you're doing, what your budget, what you're looking for from us, the 2012 Bassmaster, what we are in, or what you're looking from us. And that way we can get this thing going. Okay, and that way you win, the parish wins, North Louisiana wins. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Second go around, anyone else that has not spoken? Well, second go around. Okay, we have Mr. Thibodeau.
Yeah, just one, in that information that you bring, could you bring us the formula? The formula? Yeah, how that formula was derived, is that, a Chamber of Commerce or a Tourist Bureau formula, or?
It's actually, like I said, it's actually a sports commission formula.
But how's that come about?
Okay.
And using that formula, I wonder if maybe Erica could tell us what return we're actually getting in tax money. And because this, I for one, I've heard all these formulas and think most of them are a bunch of bull. They're way, way, way higher than they probably should be. And I'm not just talking about the sports commission, I'm talking about numbers you hear from the chamber, and, one guy bought a hamburger over here, and it was a $2 million, economic, hamburger report, and nobody can tell us, they say that, because that money's turning over 5,000 times a second, or whatever it is. The guy that had the beef, got money, and the guy that sold the bread, so, a lot of that's bull. Because as the parish, if we look at this as an investment, we should be able to tell our investors, the people who pay the taxes, that we, for example, we invested $50,000 of real dollars.
Right.
And because of that investment, we got a return of X number of dollars in additional tax income. And to tell them we had an economic impact of whatever it was, I don't think that means anything. I want to know, if we gave you $50,000 of good money, how much money did we get back in good money? I'm not interested in economic impact. So if there's some way, between your organization, give us your formula, and perhaps with Erica, you can come up with some idea of what that translates into additional tax money for the parish. I think that would be good to know.
I think a good place to start would be if we could find out how many hotels were actually
see, y'all should know all that if you have a formula.
Yeah, I'm sure that went into this.
I'm just saying, I don't know what the formula is. I'd like to see what the formula is.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, no one else on first go round. Second go round, final round, Ms. Doe.
Terry, I just feel that you today are the sacrificial lamb, and I apologize on somebody's behalf for that. But tell Miss Tice, if she shows up on the 16th, I won't ask one question. I'll just sit here and be quiet. We think I'll show up.
You taking bets on that?
I will.
Okay. All right, Ms. Bowman?
Yeah, I'll try.
Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
All right, Gary.
Very good. Thank you.
Yes, sir, Commissioners, I just want to make you aware that Mr. Willie Washington appeared before you all last month to talk about a water problem he's having with his community. There's 72 homes in his area that have issue with quality drinking water. And I talked to Representative Morris Friday morning, and he indicated that perhaps aid is some money, $126,400 to help them be able to compete for the LCDD grant.
So that's why this is on your agenda, on my agenda today, to let you know that we had to request a capital outlay from the state for that money. The total cost of the project is $784,000. So if they had this $126,000, that would give them additional points towards earning the merit of getting their project funded by the state. So I want to make you aware that we did request that. It was an urgent requirement that came up Friday, but it will be coming to the Caddo Parish Commission on their behalf if we're successful in getting it. Okay? Okay, that's a capital outlay request. The last thing I have, I placed these pamphlets at your stations. Got copies from the Community Foundation. I thought it was some very useful information here for you all. Take a look at. If you need some additional copies, please let me know. Ms. Paula says she'll be glad to give them to me. So, that being said, that concludes my report for today, unless you have any questions for me.
Okay. Now we'll entertain, questions of the administration. Mr. Dominique and Mr. Cox.
Now, the water district we're talking about, or the water area where Mr. Washington is, it's actually Mr. State Representative Patrick Williams' district, but it's my understanding from talking to you that they're confident they will be able to get those monies.
Yes, sir.
That would enhance this project, and that project will be one of the four that we'll have to vote on Thursday. Is that correct?
That's correct. I did talk to Representative Morris and James Smith on Friday. They're working together to try to make this happen for us. And I talked to Mr. Morris again today, and he thinks that would be possible. So they will be in contention for one of those slots for the two you would have on Thursday to vote.
Two slots out of the four.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Is it, Mr. Dominique?
That's all.
All right, Mr. Cox?
Just to follow up on the Sports Authority, I'd like the administration to send out a letter along with our clerk to the Sports Authority, remind them to be here on May the 16th. Okay. Because if we don't have it in writing, they can always say they forgot. Thank you, Mr. President.
And specify also what we're requesting, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right, that's it, Mr. Wood?
Yes, sir, it is. I will specify and copy you all too.
Okay. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Next we have community affairs and committee reports.
Let's do the agenda first, and then we go to individual commissioners.
Okay, first I want to remind everybody that the terms will be expiring for all members of the Caddo Parish Sewage District Number 8 Board.
Are there any communiques or committee reports from any commissioner? I have Mr. Dominique. Anyone else? I have Mr. Cox. I have Ms. Bowman, Ms. Baker. Okay, Mr. Dominique.
Just one to go, Jim.
You? Mash it again. It didn't show up. Which one I mash it?
Still didn't show up.
Okay. There it is. Yes, sir.
The Industrial Development Committee did meet just prior to this meeting, and this is relevant to ordinance number 5100 that will be introduced today, that the Industrial Development Committee did agree to authorize the sale of those interests, actually the real estate out there in North Shreveport Industrial Park, to high capacity coal, and also the funds that we'll be receiving. The committee also requests that it maintain an economic development fund for the use of that park at a later date. Just wanted to advise you of that the committee did vote for that.
All right. Mr. Cox?
Just an update, this Sunday, we had scheduled the open house at the Fire District on Winwood, and from the administration, I was going to request somebody from Robert's office to attend, somebody from Mr. Evans' office to attend, somebody from the administration, and it's been pointed out to me, which I should be shot and tarred and feathered, that Sunday is Mother's Day. So by Thursday, I will let you know if this is going to be this Sunday or the following Sunday, because I'll be honest with you, I didn't look at the calendar. So I'll keep y'all up to date as far as this Thursday, if that's going to be on or off. Thank you.
That is? Okay. Ms. Bowman?
Yeah, I saw Tim Watkins out in the audience. Did he leave, or? I know it was bit of a controversy that came up in reference to the 12 volts, whatever, and I just saw him out there. I didn't know if he had come to say anything or not.
I didn't have any requests from anyone else.
Okay, that's all.
All right. Ms. Baker?
I just wanted to report on the first Economic Development Committee retreat was very successful. We had our guest, Mr. Harris from the USDA, who gave us some very good information, and I think a lot of us learned some things about the USDA that we didn't even know that they were doing. We're looking forward to continuing to work with the Economic Development Committee. We talked about our mission and our vision, and we have our next retreats scheduled for May 25th. Any other commissioners, even who are not on the committee, are welcome to attend. But the committee members, remember that you all have homework to bring your 3 goals for your mission and your vision. So thank you so much for taking the time out to come to the retreat.
Mr. Smith?
Mr. Cox, I'm not sure you got the email. Some of the firemen from that district are over in Alabama.
Yes, I did.
Okay, good. On the committee for the sewer district, this is an unfortunate committee that everybody's terms expires at the same time. It's an old committee, as you probably know. This is the sewer district that, for the Goldwater subdivision. And I've been talking to some of the committee members about expansion of the sewer district. So I'm really going to have to twist some arms to get members, but we are working.
Okay. All right. No other requests from commissioners? Next item.
The President's report.
Okay. I have some correspondence. I'd just like to pass it on to the administration and to the clerk. I don't know if it's something that would, or whose perusal it would be, but I have something from the State of Louisiana Department of Administration, Office of Community Development, Part of Interest in State Administrative HUD-funded programs. Also, I have a letter to commissioners from the Board of Commissioners of Caddo Sewer District Number 2, Lakeview Community. I think they're asking for our support for one of the grants. And Coordinating Development Corporation are going to be holding a meeting, a workshop on the Louisiana Economic Development and workshop briefing at the Metro Regional Business Incubator, and I'd like to pass this to the clerk, see if there's something that you may want to get to all commissioners or wherever it should go. That's all I have. Next order, please.
Not showing any old business. We'll move to new business. That's only case P411 in regard to ordinance number 592, 5700 block of North Market. Request to rezone property located on the southwest side of North Market from RA to B2. There'll be a public hearing on the case May the 19th.
Moved by Commissioner Escudé, seconded by Commissioner Cox, that we advance this item to Thursday. In the discussion, Mr. Thibodeau?
I'd like to include items 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Thibodeau. That we approve items 3, 4, 5, and 6 in conjunction with item number 2. Any discussion on any of those? Okay, we'll vote please to advance to Thursday. Okay, that passes. Next item, please.
All right. Ordinance number 5097, 2011, to amend the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for Riverboat Fund in the amount of $15,000 for the Shepherd's Farm Child Development and Learning Center.
Move to Thursday.
Second. Moved by Commissioner Bowman, seconded by Commissioner Johnson. Any discussion?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Bowman?
I'm doing that on behalf of Commissioner Pearson, who said that he was going to be out of town today.
So you want to advance it so he have an opportunity to do it?
Exactly.
Okay.
All 3 of them?
In discussion?
Yes, sir. Let's see how many we have. Oh, 7, 8, 9? Well, I'm just going to do the one he
You'd like
told me.
to amend that to include items 8 and 9 to advance to Thursday, am I correct?
Well, yeah, I guess so.
You second it? Okay, now any discussion on any other 2? Okay, if not, vote to advance to Thursday. Oops, I'm sorry, I see Mr. Cox, did you have a question?
No, go ahead.
Okay, all right, okay. All right, let's see, 1, 2, let's see, it's 3 and 5, that fails. Those items fails, a tie vote. That's me. Next order, please.
Ordinance number 5100 to authorize the sale of parish interest less and accept mineral interest in lots 9 and 10 in the North Shreveport Industrial Park, Unit Number 1.
Move to Thursday.
Second. Moved by Commissioner Dominique, seconded by Commissioner Johnson. Just a question, Commissioner Dominique.
Sure.
Now, the meeting that you held today, is there anything from that meeting that should be maybe added to this?
No, not that I know. There'll be a later date. There'll be because this will be just introduced Thursday at the time of the ordinance passing. I've authorized our parish attorney to draw up a resolution for those funds to go to the Economic Development Fund, so it'll be a later time.
All right, okay. All right, seeing no further discussion, let's vote to advance this item to Thursday's agenda. That advances. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes. No, you got it.
Ordinance number 5101, reapportioning Caddo Parish into 12 commission districts.
Chair recommends to advance to Thursday.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Bowman. Under discussion, we have Mr. Thibodeau.
Oh, we don't have the maps and everything by that time,
On right now.
or prior to that time.
I think so, Commissioner. Yes, sir.
Okay, and can we be sure and ask Mr. Joyner if those maps would include at least the major streets and
Yes, sir.
so that it would be easier to identify the precincts? Will he be here? I'm sorry. I imagine he probably will be here. That would be my guess. That's all.
Okay. We have Mr. Cox.
On these maps, is there any way we can get them emailed to us before the meeting? Like the day before, night before, 2 days, as soon as possible? Because I don't want to come here Thursday and be asked to make a move on something that I'm just now looking at. I mean, we've all seen Gary, so I'd just like to, have it in my hands before I get down here.
I just know from discussions with him this morning that he's working on these as we speak, as quickly as he can, and I'll make sure that he knows that as soon as physically possible, y'all have the information that you're seeking.
Then we give him a bonus.
Okay, some may like email, but I like hard copy. Because I'm using up all my ink and stuff. So I'd like hard copy as soon as we can get them prior to them. Okay, we have next Ms. Bowman.
Yes, the public hearings as far as these are concerned.
I have those and I will formally introduce those Thursday. And they'll be well within the notification period of time. We have 3 sites identified.
Okay, because we had the intergovernmental meeting this past Friday, and I think that was one of the things that came up. So you got one north, south?
We have one in Vivian. We have one at the West Shreveport Branch Library on Pines Road, and we have the third at the Southern Hills Business Association. Is it Baird Road, Mr. Smith?
Yes, no.
What's the street? What's the address?
Baird Road.
Okay, I didn't want to mention it today because I wanted to make sure I had the formal addresses. And I think that's geographically located, and we're dealing with the commission now. We had city council folks there now. This is our business. So we got this in place, and those will be publicized well in advance, within the 24-hour period of time, and we'll be under compliance.
Well, Mr. President, let the record show that I wasn't with the city council making comments.
No, you know who made the comment now, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Another comment that, I certainly made in the meeting, and I think that it would be wise for the other commissioners to take a real good look at your maps. Make sure nobody's trying to steal your precincts that's been in your district forever. Thank you.
I might do that, okay. Mr. Escudero?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Dominique again.
Yeah, I'd like to have both hard copies and emails as soon as possible, and hopefully Mr. Joyner can come
I met with him and spoken to him on the phone, but some of those rural roads, you get to go to naming them, it's hard to determine what he's talking about without actually seeing them out, so. I agree with you.
That's the question. Mr. Bowman?
That's it, thank you.
All right, Mr. Thibodeau? Would it be possible to have another meeting somewhere in southeast Shreveport, because there's going to be some significant changes in 8 and 9 and 10.
Do me a favor, Mr. Thibodeau, if you pick a place, let me know in advance, we'll publicize that Thursday.
All right, thank you.
Okay, any further, Mr. Cox?
Well, some people want the hard copy, some people want email, with the, as Ms. Bowman used to call, presidential privilege. You can have the administration, somebody run them out to either our business or our place of residence, so we can have them like that, so.
Right. Okay, yes, that's good, Mr. Wilson. Todd? So as we get them down here, if you could do hard copies and get them out, and then we could do the email, and then they want to have whatever preference they want.
Can I bring up one? We're working on one thing to put all these maps on the website if possible.
Okay.
And try to put them there so you'll have access to them and anybody will eventually.
Well, I mean, we vote on them. You don't want to put them out there before.
Eventually we will do that.
Okay.
You don't want to vote. No, not until you vote, but you'll eventually have that.
2 weeks.
Okay?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, let's see, I see no further discussion. At this time, we'll vote to advance this item to Thursday's agenda. Okay, that passes.
Okay, ordinance 5088 to amend the budget of estimate revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund in the amount of $30,000 for Get Up Incorporated.
Move to Thursday.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Cox, seconded by Ms. Bowman. Any discussion? Mr. Thibodeau?
Would this be a good time to amend that? I'd like to amend it and to move it to Thursday, but have an amendment with it. My amendment is to use money appropriated for the 2011 year that was appropriated to the Multicultural Center and the Multicultural Tourism Bureau to be used to fund ordinance 5088. If I get a second, I'll...
Second,
Move to amend the funding source of ordinance number 5088 as proposed by Mr. Thibodeau and seconded by Mr. Escudé. And the discussion.
All right, when I last checked a couple weeks ago, and I'm assuming it's still true, neither of these groups had gotten their money as of right now, or as of a couple weeks ago. Is that still accurate?
That's still accurate, but one of them was in the process of preparing their paperwork in order to get their money. Which one was that?
Well,
The multi,
okay, as long as we haven't paid it out,
haven't paid it out.
then I still would like for this amendment to stand, or at least to get a vote anyway. And the primary reason is, in my way I understand, we have been giving them money to do tourism business and try to, in effect, bring white tourism to Caddo Parish. And that was primary of what these two organizations were about, especially the multicultural tourism. And I have not seen the first dollar over the years that we've earned from that. And I think that the Get Up Incorporated apparently at least has a plan to how they're going to use this money. And this money, I think, will also enable them to possibly get a large sum of state money. So this could be the catalyst for that to happen. So, I don't mind spending money on tourism, but I want them to do something. And as the 3 years I've been here, I haven't seen any progress at all in any of that. So I would say let's use that money and give it to somebody else that at least has a plan.
I have a concern relative to that because actually what has been proposed in the 2011 budget has been voted upon, and it must basically stand there the way that I see it.
Well,
unless those individuals, I would say, come down and say, here's a document, we do not want these funds. But until such time, that has been approved in the 2011 budget. Now, so I don't see how we can usurp that.
Well, I believe it,
What do you say? You know what I mean? But just because it hasn't been picked up, you know, I don't see how we can.
well, the money, y'all appropriated the money that you appropriated, and if I understand Mr. Thibodeau's motion correctly, if it was to pass, then you would basically want you would want the ordinance to provide for an appropriation to get up incorporated, and you would defund the appropriation of these other two organizations, and that can be done. It has to be done by ordinance, but it can be done so long as the money has not been expended that you're now going to defund.
Okay. We have Mr. Escudé.
I vote to move this forward to Thursday. I want a little bit more time to study it, and I would like maybe someone Thursday to be here from Mr. Lee's organization. It's my understanding that that one of the entities that Commissioner Thibodeau suggested on moving the money from has had and was challenged with the responsibility of the restoration and moving of the C.C. Antoine House several years ago. And they actually control over $200,000 of state money to that effect. And as of yet, nothing's been done. And if this can move it from one organization, not only our money, but get those state money transferred, and I understand Senator Jackson is working on that, to a group that will actually get the house moved and restored, rather than continue just to sit on it, then so much the better. So I've got some more questions I want to answer, and I want to look into it a little more, but I certainly want to consider it. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, get a point of information. Let's see, we have Erica first, and then Charles, or did you all?
It's one and the same, she can take care of it.
Okay, Erica?
I was just going to say, the Multicultural Center in the South, we've signed the agreement, and the administrator signed the agreement, and they've signed the agreement allowing them to get their funds. I'm not sure about the payment, but we have a contract in place, agreement, cooperative debt agreement between the two, saying that they would get those funds. Now the other entities, they were in the process, we hadn't actually signed, but that first center we have signed.
How much do they get?
$30,000. It's $30,000 for Multicultural Center of the South and $10,000 for Multicultural Tourism.
Right. So you're saying if this passed, then we can break that contract? That's why,
Sure.
John?
In the best interest of the parish, yes.
I can't answer that question off the top of my head, Commissioner. I can let y'all know first.
Okay.
But I also have to verify whether or not we pay them, because once they sign that agreement and they submit an invoice, we usually go ahead and pay them. So I would have to verify that they have not received those monies within the last couple of months.
Okay, let's see. That's it, Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Cox.
You know, when we started looking at all the NGOs as far as what they do, we came out, the first couple of years I was here, you know, we gave out money like it was ice cream candy. You know, on the corner, you know, what flavor you want, we gave them that money, you know. We finally got wise and says, okay, we need to show, or they need to show us what they're doing for their money. The Multicultural Arts Center was in a building that was given to them by the city for $1. They moved from there. I personally have been by their office a couple of times. It's always locked. No one is ever there. I couldn't tell you what they've done for their money. That is why I would support this this amendment to give the money to the Get Up Incorporated, simply because they have a plan. They have a situation that's down at the state with Lydia Jackson to get them the money that's been appropriated for years with the other entity that they have not done anything. I want to see money that we give away go back toward the parish, go back toward the people of Caddo Parish, go back toward something that will actually build history.
Scott?
Yes.
Would you like to say that good debate for Thursday?
Not really.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm going to vote for the amendment, and I know if Mr. Pearson was here, he would say the same thing. Thank you.
Ms. Goldman?
Yes, sir. I want to make one correction as far as David is concerned, because when he first came on the commission, I was here. And the commission wasn't giving money out like that to NGOs. That's a promise. Because Danny Dumas, of course, was on there when I first came on. And I tried to get at least $5,000 in my community. And I told him I need to take something back. He said, you go back and you tell your people that we fund CCC. District court. That we fund the DA's office. We fund juvenile court. You go back and tell your people that, Joyce. I said, no, I can't go back and tell my people nothing about the jail. They know more about that already.
Don't you miss him?
Yeah, I really do. Number two, this is not money that comes from the state of Louisiana. It was done through the state to force the city of Shreveport to pay out $200,000 of the riverboat boarding money that they received to the Multicultural Center. Then, of course, state legislators got angry with people at that particular entity and decided that they didn't really qualify to be considered multicultural center. It could be any organization that met multicultural status. It didn't necessarily have to be the Multicultural Center of the South. Now, that's the way it was explained to us when we questioned it. My point is this. The city took back, they only gave them the $50,000 this quarter, and then it has to come back before the council each time. So they're not actually receiving the entire $200,000 anymore. That started when I was on the council. And one other thing, Charles, when I first came on the commission, one of the first things I learned, if you appropriate money, you can de-appropriate. That's the law. Thank you.
You go to Thibodeau. Call question. Question been called for. All in favor, call for the question. Vote.
Are we voting on the amendment?
No, on there. Yeah, that supersedes the main motion though. Okay, the question has been called for. Now we'll vote on the motion as amended by Mr. Thibodeau. All in favor?
The motion again?
Restate your motion, Mr. Thibodeau.
The amendment would be to use money that had been appropriated for 2011 to the Multicultural Center and the Multicultural Tourism to be used to fund Ordinance 5088, which is Get Up Incorporated.
Yeah. Okay, that advances to Thursday. All right, next order, please, Mr. Clerk.
Next we have Resolution 18, authorizing the first administrator to request engineer.
So moved. Moved by Mr. Dominique, seconded by Ms. Bowman. In the discussion? Let's go to advance to Thursday. That advances. Okay.
Resolution 19, authorizing first administrator to request administrative consultant's proposal for services, the LCDBG program.
I move that Resolution 1920 and item 16 be moved to Thursday.
Second. Okay, see number 19, number 20, and
item 16.
And item 16.
Yes.
Be advanced to Thursday. In the discussion, see we got, let's see, you want to speak, Mr. Dominique?
Yes, I'll speak to them.
Okay.
These resolutions are typical. It's my understanding that we have to do this each year, or actually there's a couple of these resolutions that we have to do every other year to comply and actually obtain the LCDBG grant programs, and these are just typical resolutions, and that's why I was moving them forward.
Can I get the second on that? I did.
He did.
I'll second. Mr. Johnson? Okay. All right, we have Mr. Thibodeau? Nothing. Okay. Seeing no more requests for discussion, let's vote to advance to Thursday. Okay. Advances. Next order, please.
And then we have, to let you know, we have a public hearing for citizen input on the 2012-2013 LCDBG program for Thursday, May the 5th. And we have a commission to make project selections forward to the state for possible funding relative to LCDBG for Thursday.
Okay, so these are the two Caddo water and sewer.
But we actually have 4 projects now, Miss.
Our situation is updated since we printed the agenda. We've had 2 more come in today, and then at the public hearing on Thursday, anyone will be available to submit other selections. So at this point, we have 4. We have these 2. We received a request from Four Forks Water System on Spring Ridge Drive in Keyfield today. And we also have the request that Mr. Wilson spoke about, that they've asked for a capital outlay funding to match part of the request that they're going to ask for CDBG funding for that North Caddo water distribution of Mr. Willie Washington that appeared before you a number of weeks ago in that Beldigill water area. So that's the 4 that we have at this time. And we could have others, that come as a result of the hearing on Thursday.
Okay.
So
We'll have informational packets for you available on Thursday, as well as the entities will be here to answer questions about their projects.
Okay, so nothing's required here, just in.
We just let you know that this will be on your agenda for Thursday.
we need to move it to the Thursday agenda.
I got you on that.
Okay.
Okay, that's it, Ms. Mills, for now? Okay, hold on, please. Okay, we have Mr. Cox, Mr. Dominique, and Mr. Escudé.
I don't have any questions for her, so I'll wait till,
Clear Mr. Cox off, please. Okay, Mr. Dominique, you had a question?
my understanding, Mr. Harry Reisner is with the CDC will be here. He got an answer.
Corridor Development Corporation has been our consultant in the past. We will have to go out. That's one of the resolutions that you've moved to Thursday, is to request that we do consultant proposals, which we will have to do for this process. But Mr. Reiser has conveyed to me that he will be available on Thursday just to give his expertise in the area of CDBG grant funding if you have any questions about the particular demographics of the areas.
Will he be able to look at these beforehand?
He is aware of them.
Sometimes he's able to say, well, this is, this very much meets the qualifications and would make a good project, and this one is a, so-so,
Right, he is aware of the projects that we have knowledge of at this time, and he can kind of peruse those and give you an idea of how he thinks they will score. The engineers, the projects that do have engineers, the engineers are usually very familiar with those grading criteria as well, and they can kind of give you an insight on that as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
That's all I have.
today.
Okay, so they're going to present the projects Thursday.
Yes, sir.
We're going to select them after public hearing.
We're allowed to select 2 to move forward into the application process.
Okay, somebody can walk in here Thursday and present a project that we're previously unaware of. And-
Yes, at the public hearing they can.
Okay, is that the normal process? There's no, it seems to me that it can't possibly be a notice of this going out to the agencies and the cutoff. How can we review those projects and then turn right around, and if they're brand new, and select which ones are worthy or which ones are not?
Well, actually, we have written a letter to all of the service districts in the parish, and back on March 17th, and we had an informational meeting, so they were all made aware that this process was about to begin, and they could bring their projects forward to us. These 2 were the only 2 that came forth to that meeting and let us know that they had an interest. And we've advertised the public hearing for this particular Thursday. So, you don't have to select your projects on Thursday. We have to have the applications in by November, and they're very voluminous. We have to do a lot of, the consultant that is ultimately selected will have to do a lot of surveys in those particular areas. In the past, you all have selected the projects at the day they were submitted, and in the past, you've delayed to have a time to consider those projects. So that's certainly at your pleasure.
but they will be available on Thursday for your vote, or if it's the pleasure of the commission to hold those over for a couple of weeks, and that would be a doable idea as well.
I'm sure that it's what'll end up happening, with lack of time to study them. Is it within an administrative purview, or does it conflict with the state's laws that in the future, next year, or every 2 years when these projects come up, that we can't say, your deadline is this, date, so many days before the public hearings, so that we have a chance to look at this material, have the public hearing, and make the decision on the same day, so we can avoid this in the future? Does anybody know that?
We can find that out.
We can look at the time frame. A lot of these resolutions that you pass have to occur before certain activities on the selection process can occur, and I would need to defer that to our consultant to see, but we can certainly set a time frame where we have a gap in there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, I see no further requests for questions of Ms. Anita. Okay, consent agenda, right?
We have another item to add back on authorized travel for commission.
That's right. I'd like to make a motion, please. I'd like to move that we allow Ms. Baker to attend the Economic Development Conference.
Second.
Ms. Baker alone.
Second.
On the comment, don't we have other people here that are members of that organization?
That's he didn't get his notification.
And John don't want you to go anyway.
I don't want to go. That's okay, I concede. I concede to Ms. Baker.
I can go on your behalf, they'll never know.
I'd like substitute motion to allow any member of the organization to attend the conference. If I can get a second.
I'm not going to give Stephanie that opportunity.
Okay, who second? I do. Okay, moved by the chair, second by Mr. Johnson, that any member of the National Organization of Black County Officials that are members on this body be allowed to attend the conference in Fort Worth if they so desire.
I have a question.
Okay, let's see, okay, get on there. Well, I got you now. Mr. Cox?
Take mine. Mine's gonna be the last question, is for the clerk. so-
Okay, knock me off. Okay, John?
Yes. I made the motion the way I did because Ms. Baker is the chairman of our Economic Development Committee, and, our travel is getting kind of out of hand and outstretched at times, all these conventions that are not on our normal list of things. And I don't have a problem with the chairman going, or possibly another committee member who may be a member of that organization have interest. But she's the only one on that committee that's a member of that organization that I'm aware that wanted to go. But just to let anybody go to a conference, just because they're having a conference and they're not specifically involved in the Economic Development Committee, I think it's pushing it for me. So that's my effort to support Ms. Baker, is just to limit it. I think one of us is good, especially something that's last minute and outside of normal travel purview. So I appreciate if you support my motion. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Bowman?
Mr. President, do you plan on going?
No, ma'am.
Well, my deal was when Ms. Baker, approached me about supporting her, I said yes, and it was my understanding that Commissioner Pearson was going through the Police Jury Association. Is that correct? And other than you, that's the only way I'll vote for it, if you wanted to go.
Mr. Cox?
Now that some issues have come up, I would vote, if anybody is on that board, or anybody is part of that organization, and they are caught up with their travel expenses as of Caddo Parish, I think anybody should be able to go. That's my personal opinion.
Okay, that's it? Okay, no more discussion. We'll vote on the substitute motion first. All in favor of advancing substitute motion that was made by the chair and seconded by Mr. Johnson. Advance for Thursday. 3, 6, that advances. It's 6-4. Okay, next item, please, Mr. Clerk.
I just need a little point of, got a question, because I want to make sure that we do this right. we have a commission to hold a public hearing. Do we need to move that to Thursday?
On our redistrict?
To move it to our Thursday agenda for the citizen input on the LCDBG. Okay, we need to move that with a vote to Thursday.
So moved. All right, moved by Commissioner Thibodeau, seconded by Commissioner Baker, that we notify the public relative to the public hearing venues on Thursdays, at Thursday's meeting. All in favor? Mr. Thibodeau will get the fourth venue. Okay, that advances to Thursday.
Then we also need to move the commission to make project selection to Thursday.
Make what now?
The project selection for the LCDBG to Thursday.
Okay. Moved by Mrs. Baker.
Wait, point of order, I thought Commissioner yesterday said that we were gonna not make a decision Thursday.
Well, it's our
Presentation Thursday.
You gotta do the presentation. Okay. Now, what we got?
We have a motion by Ms.
Baker to
Second. I'll second.
act upon the LCDG
Thursday's agenda.
to be advanced to Thursday's agenda. Seconded by who? Commissioner Escudero. Any no discussion? Vote to advance to Thursday. All right. That's it.
One quick question.
All right, Mr. Cox.
How many commissioners are planning on going to the legislative day next week? Show of hands.
I'll raise my hand for something.
I wouldn't do that. Mr. Clerk, have you made those arrangements as far as registration fees and
There
stuff?
have been some arrangements made, but I've got a couple names down that have not been.
Okay.
I was called today from Baton Rouge.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Thank you, sir. Motion adjourned, huh? Motion adjourned.
Find that out.
Yeah.